The Lion King is the greatest animated movie of all time. Now, I already know what you're thinking.
Don't you think I know that?
But in all seriousness, I know not everyone shares that same sentiment. So I did some digging and I was asking everyone around me, what's your favorite movie of all time and why? And what I noticed is that almost every single person said a movie that was from their childhood and all included central themes that connected with them with their childhood and still connected with them today as an adult. And honestly, that's why Lion King is one of my favorite movies. From beautiful animation, iconic voice performances, and a legendary soundtrack. Circle of life, and it moves us on. But it's really the characters of the film, particularly the three main characters, Scar, Mufasa, and Simba, and the lessons and themes that we learned from their characters in the movie that resonated with me as a child and still resonate with me today as an adult. So, without further ado, here's my Lion King review. See, the thing about Simba is that he's eager to grow up. He's eager to be king because he doesn't understand what that means. He thinks being king means absolute rule, absolute freedom to do whatever you want without caring about anyone littler than him. Oh, I just can't wait to be king. This theme resonated with me because I, like many of us out there, couldn't wait to grow up. We couldn't wait to get older. We couldn't wait to have the freedom to do whatever we wanted. But none of us fully understood the responsibilities and the hardships that came with being an adult. It's that impatience that our parents warned us about for so many years. Don't be in a rush to grow up. Take your time. Enjoy being a kid. And the tragic and profound part about this movie is that Simba is forced to grow up out of nowhere when tragedy strikes. And that tragedy was the death of the king, his father, Mufasa. Now, Mufasa represents the heart of the film. He's a living embodiment of the idea of the circle of life. He's the one that explained to Simba that every being on Pride Rock serves its purpose, and that even lions, while being on the top of the food chain, will die one day and become that same grass that the antelopes and the zebras eat. Mufasa represents strength, wisdom, and what a great leader should be. And he's voiced by the late, great James Earl Jones in an iconic performance. I'm not gonna lie, the first time I heard Mufasa's voice, that was crazy. It sounded like two thunderstorms fighting each other. One of my favorite scenes of the film is when Simba and his little girlfriend Nala go out to the elephant graveyard at the behest of the villain of the film, Scar, who happens to be Simba's uncle and Mufasa's brother. And we'll get into Scar in a minute. Mufasa's instincts lead him to save Simba and Nala and teach Simba a very valuable lesson. Mufasa tells Simba that he's only brave when he has to be. And it's pretty profound when Simba realizes that Mufasa does indeed have a fear, and that's the fear of losing his one and only son. Now, Mufasa is such an iconic character because he's only in the movie for 36 minutes and only has about 4 to 5 scenes. But the lessons that he teaches and what he symbolizes in the film is something that stuck with so many people for many years. He's courageous, he's powerful, he's wise, and his main goal in the film is to raise Simba to be the exact same way. But little do Mufasa know, his own flesh and blood was plotting against him. Be prepared! And that flesh and blood is his brother, Scar. That mother.
Pumbaa, not in front of the kids.
Now, as much as I hate Scar, he is the perfect villain. He's motivated by jealousy and resentment, which a lot of movie villains are, but it's jealousy and resentment of his own brother. And it's not because Mufasa's mean to him, Mufasa did anything to him. We don't actually get that in the film. Mufasa just simply was chosen to be the next king. And Simba's birth meant that Scar would never become king of Pride Rock. And that's something he simply couldn't live with. So much so that he concocted a scheme to get his nephew eaten by hyenas. And when that scheme doesn't work, thanks to Mufasa, Scar and the hyenas decide to kill Simba and Mufasa as well, ending their entire bloodline and ensuring that he would be king of Pride Rock. Now, Scar isn't just plain old evil. He's cunning, he's witty, and he's manipulative. It's not even until Mufasa's last moment that he realizes what Scar was truly planning and that his own brother was out there to kill him. The stampede scene in this film, while very sad and very tragic, is iconic. I'm not sure how in 1994 they got all those wildebeest to just run straight in the lines without crashing into each other. But it worked, and it led to one of the most tragic scenes in any movie in history. Simba, miles away from home, not only just witnessed his father die, but also was made to believe that he's the one responsible for it. So all the lessons that Mufasa told him and everything that he believed in growing up, he completely tosses out the window. Even though I haven't lost a parent, I do know how important it is for individuals to remember those things that their parents taught them and the love that they shared with them. But Simba, it was so tragic because he threw all of that stuff out of the window and he didn't care about anything anymore. After almost being eaten by vultures, Simba befriends a meerkat named Timon and a warhog named Pumbaa. And they teach him a seemingly misguided lesson about forgetting your past and living life with no worries. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Simba embraces this friendship and is taken under Timon and Pumbaa's wing. And he's even raised with him and grows up without that belief system that was instilled in him as a young cub. And that brings me to the side characters of the film, mainly Timon, Pumbaa, Nala, and Rafiki. Now, these characters act as Simba's guide to guide him back to Pride Rock and to challenge Scar to become the next true king, to do what he was always meant to do. And I love this because facing your past as an adult is extremely difficult, and this movie highlights how there's people with us along this journey that can help us get to where we need to be in life. Nala is the love interest, Timon and Pumbaa are the best friends, and Rafiki is a spiritual guide. Not just Rafiki, but Mufasa as well. And that's another reason Mufasa is so iconic, because the themes and the lessons that he taught live throughout the entire movie and don't just end at that 36-minute mark where he's tragically killed. Throughout the second half of the film, these characters and the interactions with them remind Simba of who he is and what his true responsibilities are, and that is to become King of Pride Rock. Watching this always makes me think about the people who were there in my life to get me to where I am today. Not saying I'm the king of anything, but there are often so many people along our journey that lead us to where we currently are. And oftentimes, we don't even speak to these people anymore. We probably don't even remember their last names. But these people are important and they teach us lessons that eventually get us to where we are. So, with the help of some friends, Simba travels back to Pride Rock and he's finally ready to challenge his Uncle Scar as the next king of Pride Rock. At this point in the film, the characters are still unaware that Scar is responsible for the death of Mufasa and the presumed death of Simba. In a climactic final battle, Scar is able to show us just how cunning and irredeemable he is as a villain. Even in his dying words, he's lying and betraying the hyenas. Scar is killed by the hyenas. Simba assumes his role as the new king of Pride Rock, and almost overnight, Pride Rock is transformed back into that beautiful place that Simba grew up in. It's always been insane to me how Scar was willing to kill his own brother to become king, just to do nothing with the land, just to let it become a barren wasteland. Animals are on the move, there's nothing to hunt. He just wanted to be king just to be king. There was no ambitions, no motivations, no ideas for the future. All he wanted to do was have the hyenas as his army so he could do whatever he wants, take whatever he wants, and let Pride Rock become a wasteland. Now, I know I just sort of skimmed through the plot of the movie, but again, I wanted to talk about the themes of the movie and why they still hold up for me today. This movie is about growing up and learning to take responsibility. But it teaches us to be patient with that growing up process and how to deal with loss along the way. It's also about figuring out who you're supposed to be. Now, this movie is about lions, so Simba's role was already predetermined. But we as people have more autonomy over our roles in society, and the decisions that we make can shape that person that we're meant to be. We can decide who we're meant to be. Mufasa's lesson about the circle of life hit home because it shows us that we're all connected. And he teaches us to treat everyone that makes up this circle with respect and dignity because we all need each other. The scar represents the dangers of jealousy, the dangers of resentment, and the dangers of the hunger for power. Now, if you don't believe me that these themes still resonate with me today, just yesterday I was struggling to make this video almost to the point where I almost gave up. But I would have to talk with family members, and particularly my mom. And she told me that you need to remember who you are. So that's my piece on The Lion King and why it's so personal to me. Again, this is my favorite movie of all time, and I honestly don't ever see that changing. If you haven't seen this movie, please see it. It is an 11 out of 10. Please be sure to like and subscribe and comment below what's your favorite movie of all time. And if you can, tell me why. And as always, Dame said that.